around the beginning of the 17th century, 1600s, when the big metropolitan areas started to develop. The need for advertising, for memorializing, for playfully describing all of the entertainments, which were mainly the brothels, theater, kabuki, and sumo later,
Exactly.
started to use the printed image. So what we have here is a small album-like book by Okamura Masanobu. It's called Genroku Jinbutsu.
Could you tell me where he studied?
Well, he probably picked it up here and there, but
So
he was
self-taught.
well.
sort of.
Clearly he emulates the Tori
Tori.
people, but he never claimed to be part of that.
part of
and
that.
his first known book was 1701 or 2, I believe, right in that area. He was a very young man then, because we think he was born around 1686. He was known primarily as an illustrator of his cheap novels. So I think it's more likely that this rather elegant, nicely proportioned set of textless images was just a little bit later. You see?
So it's really, really beautiful with that as a quality of line, and then also very carefully printed.
I love how the designs of the bodies and the garments roll together. This looks almost like a seashell kind of a thing, and it's hard to imagine a real body under that. It's pretty carefully
So
done.
the flower arrangement and
Right.
then the tokonoma. But you can see right here, thicker line become thinner and then get thicker again. That really much, you have a relief of it's a much harder to keeping exactly same like a nose or like a hairline. It's line doesn't fluctuate in the thickness of it. Much harder than doing this kind of get
Varying
the thicker, thinner
Okay.
line.
Yeah. He's at the beginning of a group of print designers who, for various reasons, have been advertising the world of theater, the world of the brothel, the courtesan. And there's no image, at least in this book, that you could call shunga or erotic. You see? If we look at another book, and this is Tsukenobu, Ishikawa Tsukenobu, and this is also images of beautiful women in activities of the season. 1740, I think, is the publication date of this. So we're looking at something 30 years after this. Do you see a difference? Does your eye see a difference in?
Some of the I'm looking at it much more detailed, or kimono design, or sometimes the hairline. Not these pages, but some of the hairline is really much more tight, much more line than this appear by Masanobu.
So it's a slightly tighter, more control.
Yes.
I mean, you're not looking at that big of a difference.
Yeah, it's not that.
But what I find interesting is the settings.
Settings,
These are probably imagined settings.
Yeah.
Something I also noticed is that the figures are a bit more believable.
Yeah.
And the bodies under the clothing are a
you're
bit more. It looks like the clothing actually falls on them. And here they have that rounded kaiketsudo.
Kaiketsudo, you're
effect,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we see Harunobu.
Then you see Suzuki Harunobu.
Yes.
Who?
It's beautiful.
Suzuki Harunobu, who is credited with bringing full color printing into the fore. So his most active period is like the 1760s. And he has this wonderful series from that period, 3 volumes, Seiro Bijin. Essentially, these kinds of books were intended as advertising.
Advertising.
Advertising for the pleasure quarters.
Pleasure quarter.
You know very well these are really classic Harunobu figures.
Yes.
his women and men
Yes.
too, but women are easily identifiable.
Yeah, but it's a lovely. It's like a tea. She's tucking into the drinking, and it just I can see steam coming
Steam
out
coming
from
off.
it.
It's right. It looks almost
Yeah.
like a tiny little,
Little yes.
almost a mistake, and you realize that's her hand coming
The
out.
hand coming out.
And she
Yeah.
holds the tea against
Exactly.
her bare
Yes.
chest, and the steam rolls
Yeah,
out.
steam rolls out. That's the amazing images. And then I'm also Jim is amazing. This is a sort of like a this color of a purple. It's a more brown, but it's a probably this is like a dayflower blue or something in a faded away,
Faded
and
away a bit,
faded
yeah.
away the color. But I can see still in the purple colors.
Really kind of cool. This book inspired competition. So slightly later, you have Shigemasa and Shuncho doing essentially the same topic. Harunobu kind of set the stage. Artists who followed him by a few years took up the challenge. They elaborated. These are oban
size.
prints.
Yes.
But here, instead of being one continuous, one of these is folded
Yes.
in half.
Yeah.
So every other page is folded.
Because there's a lot of mathematics involved there.
A lot of mathematics, yeah. So.
Well, when I'm looking at it, always very technical carving time. Carving is a very, I'm always looking for kewari, is like hairlines, and then how we finely cut. But it's always last is headmaster carved.
We look at these kind of like as fine art,
Yes.
but what we're looking at is comparatively mass circulation, high-end advertising of different tea houses. But Shuncho was especially famous for actor
Kabuki.
prints. Actor prints, and so operating in the late 1700s. If you think about these as movie star magazines or People magazine of the period,
Yes.
it's all just a delight to look at.
Yeah.
And while they might look, from our perspective of several hundred years later, like caricatures, I think the audience of the day certainly was able to identify them.
Identify who's actor
Who was who,
Yeah.
through a combination of facial type
That's-
and the role. Quality of retention of color in this book is particularly striking to me.
Yes,
Look at this.
that's here's. It's completely exactly same dayflower blue. I see it's not browning anything. It's really preserved in the color of the dayflower blue. It's a purple, and then some of the we've seen before is already faded away. This is exactly colors when you print freshly you print.
So if you look at these in terms of an Oban print, of course, again, like many of the others we're looking at,
Yes.
this is the Oban, and pages are folded. But in terms of number of colors used in process, I guess you have to think about both sides, right?
Exactly, because it's printed
pretty
at the same
complex.
time. It's yeah.
So you have to be very careful and
Yes, you have to be careful. But so this is printed at the same
Same time.
and the same block, and then there's a two set of the different area.
probably a dozen or more colors. So this is a complex printing. There's no
Yes.
question about it.
No question about it. Yeah, it's great.
But at the same time this is going on, and we come to a contemporary of Shuncho's, Utamaro, and there's not a specific date given for his luxury book on seashore life, but a good guess is 1790s. The standard Oban sets the stage.
Widespread.
And then we go to these series of poems, and below you get a whole incredibly beautiful range
Yes.
of shapes and
Shells,
kinds of
yeah.
shells. And it's almost scientific.
Yeah. It's a beautiful gem, and there's a very light green gradation faded away, and then text appears. And then also right here, gem, there's only this area had like a, it's just very small proportion area, but it's have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different plates in the going that
the way
it's
around.
always around.
So contrasting lines.
Yes, you can see contrast and then also texture. It's a very complex plan. It's such a tiny area. And then one other thing is you can see it. It's contrast with other shell, which is a 1-time printed or 2-time printed. It's just behind. And then this is a boom. There's a 5 colors.
It's almost like he scatters the
Yeah,
colors
exactly,
here, and
exactly. And then bring it out, just like a put up.
So it really punches
It
out.
punches out.
This must have been a costly production.
It is. It is very,
Very costly.
very costly. Oh, like here, mica. There's a mica still touches the mica there. It's beautiful.
Sea cucumbers.
Yes, you can. You know, and also this mica is very effective because of you turn on the page, and then wherever you turn on the pages is shining
The
away.
light
because
catches it.
print should be holded.
Mhm.
It knows that artist, it's this not looking this way. You hold it the book or like a ton of pages, and then wherever ton of pages, you see the detail of this bossing or sort of like a mica techniques, and you can see it.
So the active use
Yeah,
of
active
the
use
page
of the pages.
activates the
Because you see
materials.
that because all those Japanese print, it's not supposed to be in hanging in it. You hold it and then look that way. So that all those technique of shiningness or something is effective because of you hold it there and the turn on the pages.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And
Oh.
then it ends with again a group of beauties
Yes.
in an open room with the veranda.
Yeah.
In contrast to this, just from a book roughly of the same period, Umi no Sachi is very much a guidebook to fish. And I mean, contrast of an explanatory book, much cheaper production.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell
Yes.
quality of paper,
Yeah.
quality of inking,
Mm.
and it's like a miniature encyclopedia or dictionary of sea life. And it's reflective of a general interest of the time, late 18th, early 19th century, when a lot of literature about Dutch, from Holland, so it's called Dutch learning, but it really is European learning about categorizing nature comes in. So some Japanese pick that up, and they start doing these publications. But high end, low end of an interest in the period, where you begin to separate things out as distinctive. So we started with Shunsho, and his actors become distinctive. Utamaro, at a very high level
Yes.
book, is looking at the distinctions of shells. And then this book suggests the types of sea life.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, they end up with a mythical turtle, that has this. So even though everything preceding it was natural, they end with the myth, or almost end with the myth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the end of this.
Yeah.